This is a 160 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff attorney Mr. Rios, capital R-I-O-S. Defense attorney Ms. M.S. period West, capital W-E-S-T. And we start with the plaintiff. Ready? All right, and could you point that out? Right behind this pallet right here, they were up against it. Would you just take a pen and put a P for T-P, P for pallets, okay? And you can't recall, I take it, when you first pulled up that there may have been more pallets that you unloaded. You just can't remember. Is that true? That's true. All right, the ones that you were unloading when the incident occurred, though, they were up next to and against this set of yellow materials. Misstates his prior testimony. Correct. Okay, well, I'm just looking at where he placed the P. Can I clarify here, were the pallets you were unloading, were they touching the yellow pallets, or was there a space between the pallets? Very close. I mean, they were up right behind them. All right, and the pallets that you were picking up with your forklift and that are shown over in Exhibit 1 after the accident, were these side by side on the trailer? In other words, if you were looking at the trailer, you'd just see a pallet where you placed the P and another one immediately as we're looking at the photograph behind it. Behind it? Yes. All right, and what you're saying is because of the positioning of the pallets, you could take your forks as you're operating the forklift and put the forks under both pallets? Correct. All right, how far was the pallet closest to you positioned on the trailer away from the edge of the trailer? In other words, if you're standing up next to the trailer, what was the distance between the edge of the trailer and the edge of the first pallet? May call for speculation. You can answer the question. You can answer the question. I'm going to say 6 inches. So these two pallets were not positioned in the center of the trailer. May call for speculation. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't on the other side. I never got up on the trailer. I'm going to say not, because of the side of them, not quite to the center. Do you have an estimate as to how wide the trailer bed was? I'm not really familiar with that thought. Okay, maybe 8 feet. Guess. Don't guess. We don't want you to guess. Don't want a guess. But the trailer was there. We can see in the photograph you were there. And if you remember looking at the trailer bed and have an estimate as to how wide it is, I want your best estimate, but I don't want you to guess. I don't know. All right, in looking at the photograph, it appears toward the front of the trailer there is a consistent load of some material. It looks like maybe bags of cement or rocks, I believe, is what the driver said. Do you see what I'm talking about there? Yes, I do. Okay, the pallets that material is on, do you see those pallets? Yes. Okay, are those fairly standard size pallets? Yes. In looking at the photograph, can you estimate what the dimensions of those pallets are? May call for speculation. I know what a pallet is. A normal pallet. What is a normal pallet? Approximately, anyway. I'm going to say about 40 inches wide by maybe 48 inches long. And when you're looking at this pallet that's on the truck, would the length be going across the trailer? No. Okay, so the length, these are not square pallets then normally? No. Okay, all right. When you strike that, prior to pulling in and putting your forks under the two pallets, you were offloading at the time of the accident. Did you have to reposition the forks because of the, yes, Let me finish the question. Excuse me, because the pallets were smaller? Yes, I had to bring them closer together. Okay, and did you do that yourself? Yes. How close did you move the forks together in order to pick up these two pallets? You want inches? I don't know if you pushed them all the way together, but yes, if they were separated, I want to know what the gap was between the two forks. I'm going to estimate about 8 inches. I brought them in where they would just fit inside the pallets that I was lifting off. Okay, as you were driving in and putting the forks under these two pallets, were you directly in front of the trailer? In other words, were you driving straight at the trailer? Correct. All right, and where was the driver at the time you were doing that? On the opposite side of the trailer. All right, and what was he doing over there? Guiding me in, letting me know when the fork is completely through and I was under the pallets correctly. All right, did he signal you in some way when he saw that the forks were completely under the pallets? He told me we're good, we're all the way through. All right, and did he tell you how far the tips of the pallets stuck beyond the outside pallet? Not that I recall. Okay, did you have any idea at the time you first picked up the load off the trailer bed how far the tips stuck out from the other side of the far pallet? It would be a guess. Okay, so you had no idea at the time you picked up the load how far the tips stuck out? I can estimate. That's what I want you to do. My estimate was I was up against the bed of the truck. I have knowledge of how long the forks are. I know how big the pallets are. My estimate would be probably about 8 to 12 inches beyond the pallet. Did you ever actually ask the driver how far the tips? No. Stuck out? Okay, once you got the forks under the pallets, I think your testimony was the forklift base there at the base of the forks. Is there a plate there on the forklift? I don't understand. Okay, you have the tips of the forks and all the way to the base of the forks. Okay, is there some type of a plate at the base of the forks? Vague and ambiguous. Yes, the way the forks are made, they're made in an L shape and they attach to the forklift. All right, and you understand what I'm talking about when I'm referring to the base of the forks? I think so. And there's some type of L that goes up? Yes. All right, the word list. I don't think we have any words for the word list, but let me double check. Words on the word list. Thank you for waiting. No words on the word list, and that will conclude our 160 Q&A practice test.